and disease was cured everywhere. Where there are fans, there are fan comics. Whether that constitutes sprite comics starring color swap versions of Sonic the Hedgehog, SpongeBob Kaiju battles, or gnomes and Pokemon is up to you. The art of the fan comic is a craft that holds no prisoners. The 2010s was a bit more forgiving with its too edgy for me Mario stomps blood and gore, Pokemon is dog fighting take on video games, but those types of comics haven't aged very well. A lot of the gaming fan comics I found absolutely knee-slapping as a little jelly packet are something to behold now. Perhaps I truly did only consume garbage media. Whoa! Is that Brawl in the Family, the Nintendo webcomic made by Matthew Toronto?
No.
On May 1st, 2008, the very minute the clock rolled around, Brawl in the Family blessed us with his presence, featuring its very first comic, Showdown. The comic started off as mainly Kirby-related gags, featuring the classical comic duo of Kirby and the unwilling victim. If not King DDD, then whoever's about to go in his mouth. Brawl in the Family was conceived as a series of doodles that Matthew, known as Triforce Bun at the time, drew during his college classes. He had apparently posted them on an IGN message board, which then spread to sites such as GameFAQs, which culminated in the comic getting his very own website. Well, this is all according to Matthew himself on the Brawl in the Family About page. The name Brawl in the Family is a portmanteau. Hold on 1 second.
Portmanteau.
Dude, I hate the English language. Yeah, that word. Of All in the Family and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which was the latest Smash game at the time. I mean, it works. Smash Bros. Being a thing that happens in the universe is really just used to tie all the characters together, as they all live in their own respective worlds and do their own thing. Occasionally, there will be a comic where Master Hand or the Smash Bros. Show up, but most crossovers just happen in the world of one character or the other. Hell, Mega Man gets his own comic before he becomes a fighter in Smash 4, and then the Dragon Quest slime shows up at Mario's doorstep. If they showed up on a Nintendo console, they're fair game. Man, when are we getting the Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans comic? This strip really likes its dumb, silly punchlines. Just look at this absolutely urethral shot of Mario. One thing I really like about Brawl in the Family is how simple all of its premises are, which is something Matthew does deliberately. This is a Nintendo fans comic, of course, but most of the punchlines only require surface level knowledge to understand, and even then, most jokes can be inferred visually. Like, take the Kirby gag that this strip loves so much. Kirby eats something, and becomes it. And if you don't know what EA is, you may not get this one, but for the most part, the resulting punchline is very easy to understand, even if you've somehow never heard of Kirby in your life. And sometimes characters are just given traits because it'd be funny. Captain Falcon's gag is he screams out every action he does with Falcon at the beginning, literally only because of the Falcon punch. Though it's not like the Smash series isn't also guilty of just doing whatever the hell they want with Falcon. All I'm saying that without Smash Bros, Captain Falcon might have survived his own anime. Also, Snake is just a huge ass, and out of every character he has a rivalry with Olimar. And sometimes we get characters like King Son DDD, a shockingly reoccurring character whose joke is that he looks like DDD and he offers to clean Kirby's clock. And then his teeth, man, I love an everyman. Irio, janitor of the Mushroom Kingdom and apparent cousin of the Mario Brothers. I saw someone call him Sigma Luigi once. And we can't forget Matthew's unfaltering love for Thwomps. This comic has more Thwomps than the average level in Mario Maker. We've got enough Thwomps to fill up a Dashi Games compilation. Also, Smokey the Bear shows up in 2 comics. This is generally like one of the funniest brick jokes in the entire series. Brawl in the Family is about Nintendo at large, but deep down it's a Kirby comic. It takes 33 whole comics to get one devoid of a Kirby character, and then a week later Matthew just could not resist the temptations. It's really interesting to see Kirby comics from the era between Kirby 64 and Return to Dreamland. Kirby's modern era almost makes you forget that Kirby and DDD were usually depicted as rivals at best. And an interesting remnant of this era is the concept of Adeline as part of the main cast, since she was a hero in Kirby 64. No ribbon though, screw her, she still owes me money. Also, DDD has a nondescript Waddle Dee as a lackey until Return to Dreamland releases. But even the light novels did that, and those came out after Bandana Waddle Dee was a mainstay. Kirby and DDD have some very fun characterization. Kirby's your typical good-hearted, innocent, silly little guy, but he's also eaten half the cast, and probably eaten the rest if Matthew milked the Kirby eating gag more than he already did. I doubt Kirby actually kills anybody he eats, because DDD gets eaten in the very first comic and is obviously not dead forever. But it's also not like in Smash Bros where Kirby eats someone and they just pop out of him, so where do they go? Also, I have to point out that his feet are colored brown instead of red. Where I'm from, pulling a stunt like that gets you killed. DDD, on the other hand, is a gluttonous narcissist with a one-sided rivalry against Kirby, but also shows genuine care for him. The comic really drives home how much of a softie he is at heart, such an endearing villain DDD characterization. His catchphrase in Brawl in the Family is, "I'm gonna get ya, Kirby," which is such a mystery to me, because that's not a thing DDD said ever, yet it's not only said in the very first comic, but Kirby parrots it immediately after eating DDD, which makes it feel like it's supposed to be an established thing DDD says, like, "Oh, you." And then there's Meta Knight. He changes the sides on every comic. The Kirby comics have the most continuity, with stuff like the Gooey Bomb incident being brought up several times after the arc ends.
Kirby, you're a big thorn in my side.
No, that's a big thorn in your side. Now you might be thinking, Brawl in the Family sounds cool, but where are its musical numbers? No? You weren't thinking that? Ooh, no you are, stupid dumbass. During the Christmas season of 2008, Brawl in the Family's first story arc happened. How the King Stole Christmas is a silly Smash Bros. Twist on the classic Grinch story, but everybody's favorite penguin as a villain. It's a sweet, short little tale with an adorable ending, an entire parody of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch that you can listen to as you read the second part. Seeing this for the first time was such a surprise for young me. I mean, how many webcomics can you say did anything close to this? Not even just a vocal cover of the original too. The instrumentals changed to feature Nintendo LED motifs and other cute little nods. More musical comics came out after this one, becoming a sort of tradition. If Christmas time was coming, you knew for a fact that Matthew was cooking up a holiday song to accompany the next strip. But they weren't just for Christmas. Later milestone comics like 400 were also musical comics. What do you look at the time? Man, numbers are crazy nowadays. Fellas, it's Waluigi time. Brawl in the Family's Waluigi is something to behold. On one fabled April Fool's Day, the comic took a change that would permanently alter it forever. Instead of stinky Brawl in the Family where Kirby eats something for 500 times, we have Waluigi in the Family with brilliant, innovative punchlines like this one. Believe it or not, Brawl in the Family is at least partially to thank for Waluigi's current overwhelming popularity. After being introduced in Mario Tennis, Waluigi was almost universally hated by fans, and by the time Brawl in the Family rolled out, he was only then just starting to be appreciated. Waluigi was given a memey, exaggeratedly eccentric personality, and even when he was set up as the guy nobody likes, he owned up to it, usually, making him really resonate with fans. Hell, the phrase "too bad Waluigi time" came from Brawl in the Family. So before you post that meme about Waluigi being peak male physique, make sure to pay respect to your elders who fought for you to be able to say this without everybody looking at you funny. I think Brawl in the Family Waluigi is a prime example of what I love about these comics. Matthew wasn't afraid to make these characters his own. I've already talked about Kirby and DDD's characterizations, but every part of the cast has a unique personality of their own that differentiates them from a generic comedic interpretation of their character. And Matthew explores that a lot, especially in the later comics, whether that's in an alternate universe Mario world parodying A Christmas Carol, Kirby and DDD having a sleepover, or Solid Snake trying to steal Captain Falcon's date. As the comic matured, it began to experiment more and more, and I feel that's shown best in my favorite story arc, Cocoon Academy. Hey, even if you don't feel like reading through the 600 comics of Brawl in the Family, I strongly suggest reading through this arc and coming back. I'll leave a link in the description if I'm not an idiot. This arc sets out to explain the interconnectivity of Brawl in the Family. The older members of the cast went to a school aptly named Cocoon Academy that would teach them to be heroes. Younger designs were created for every character that shows up, and it's really funny to see Luigi as the Chad and Mario as the Chud. Also, I respect the fact that Matthew decided pre-transition Bird was a character he needed to draw. Character-driven stuff in Brawl in the Family is always a delight to read. I've gushed enough about its characterization, but it's so fun to see everybody's interactions, especially with the awkward settings of high school. We also get more Aereo, and that might as well be a personal gift from Christ Almighty. Why are they hitting the old school music? I love that Dark Matter finally gets a deserved appearance in this arc. It's shown up once or twice as a small gag, and I'm glad the series' most influential villain, no DDD, you do not count, gets to show up, and just that, a villain. And it gets this sick serpentine design where its little bud thing shares with the lion's mane, and then it gets even cooler, never kill yourself. And I also love how Cocoon Academy explains Meta Knight. He was once a lot more physically similar to Kirby, but exposure to dark matter, and by that I mean having it blow up in his face, caused his appearance to change and him to lose his copy ability. And waddle dee! Oh, this comic is beautiful. It could just never end. Well, yeah, we still got more comics. Check out It's a Plentiful Life. Man, can this get any worse? So on July 24th, 2014, 2 months before Smash for 3DS came out, it was announced that Brawl in the Family is ending. But it still had some time left, and I'm trying really damn hard to formulate a tasteful joke here. As elements of Smash 4 were revealed, Brawl in the Family would have comics on them. Now, I wasn't reading Brawl in the Family when Smash 4 was being teased, but you can feel the excitement for the game in these comics. It's a one-way ticket having outdated jokes, but Matthew has been surprisingly on point with all Smash 4 bits, even when he's not actually speculating anything. The strip was set to end at Comic 600, the very day that Smash 4 3DS would release. That wasn't even intentional on Matthew's part, it was just fate. That meant we had 20 comics left, and Brawl in the Family was pulling out all stops. We got one final Kirby eating something gag, one final Thwomp comic where Mario actually wins, and one final story arc that wraps everything in a neat little bow and explains what will happen to the characters when the story is concluded. It must have been really hard to come up with an ending to a strip like Brawl in the Family, and I think the way Matthew handled it was pretty much perfect. It's a perfect blend of bittersweetness, where we know that these iconic, beloved characters will still be around with us, but their specific personalities, growth, and bonds will no longer be maintained once the comic ends. It's someone else's job to contextualize these characters now, and we just have to find someone else who can capture that magic. But wait, that's only 599 comics, so what's left? Well, one final song. So, to wrap up this comic, Matthew gave us Well, do I really have to say it again? One last song to reminisce on everything the comic has done. All of its running gags, silly characters, and songs. It even ends with Brawl's main theme, to really hammer home the end of an era, for not just the Smash Bros community, but the Nintendo community as a whole. And that was it. Brawl in the Family is done. But Matthew still had a ton of other projects he wanted to do. His indie game Tadpole Trouble is being developed and released 2 years later for PC, the Wii U, and later the Switch. He made monthly comics for the fan magazine Nintendo Force, worked with Howard Phillips to provide the art for a book he made by Nintendo's early years, composed the music for a platformer called Nefarious, and probably even more that I've missed. He also recently created a sort of spin-off Brawl in the Family continuation called Bit Musical, which as the name suggests is a series of Nintendo-themed songs in a similar vein to the ones in the comics. It only lasted for around 12 episodes, but in a live stream commemorating the end of the series, he made this announcement.
I think I'm going to try to make more DD dolls and more books. We're going to do a Kickstarter reprint coming up pretty soon for Brawl in the Family all in one. Big Brawl in the Family book, 1, 2, 3 all together.
Then a month later, he has the Brawl in the Family Kickstarter page alright. The campaign already ended, but you can still make a late pledge if you want to nab some Brawl in the Family goodies. I for one will be closely monitoring that DD doll until I can get some money. And that's everything I have to say about Brawl in the Family. I tried my best to honor the series as well as I could. It's extremely important to me, and it's sad to see not many people talk about it nowadays. I had so much fun reading through it again, and I can't wait to do it all over once the ultimate version is complete. Thank you so much for watching this far. I didn't expect this video to do very well, so I really appreciate it. Now how do I end this video on a funny note? Oh right.